Okay, folks, one of the things I've noticed in my videos is that I'm really trying to keep the inside of my X3 neat and organized and looking good. And one of the things that I've noticed recently is that I've got these ugly wires running up the firewall in the back for my headset. So I bought a Rugged Radios mount several months ago and couldn't figure out how to use it and didn't want to get wires back there exposed from the back because of the firewall and because of the heat from the unit. So here's my way of combating that and making that look good back there as well. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so instead of using screws in this thing, I went ahead and used black silicone behind it and held it in place while that dried. On the opposite side, I used black silicone on the outer edges. I left this area here exposed because there's two set screws there I want to be able to have access to tighten in my connectors for my headsets. And so the biggest concern I have, of course, is heat. This is literally covering the turbo, so that generates a lot of heat. So the idea is I'm going to run both my wires up and into place, and then I'm going to be covering them with some heat shield material and sealing them in. And probably I'll have to cut this out a little bit more as it sticks in more, and then kind of create a small bubble around it as well with more heat shielding. But you get the drift on this thing. So this side looks really good, so it's going to look really professional. I'll clean up with some mineral spirits any of the excess black that you see smeared around there. But now I've got a very professional looking connectors for my headsets. So here's the finished product. I just encapsulated the back wiring, ran the wiring up, put the self-stick side down, faced in, and I think that's going to turn out really good. I encapsulated this twice and then put metal tape on top of the heat shield as well, just to make sure. I double foamed it because that's where the integrity is as you're getting closer to it. So hopefully that'll work. We'll see what happens long term on it, but I have a feeling there isn't that much heat generated considering they had nothing there to protect you from it to begin with other than a small bubble. So I'll show you the finished product in a little bit here. Thanks. Well, project clean up the wires to the headset is complete. And so there's the finished product. What I did was I just drilled 2 screws, took some wire connectors, and shaved down these plug caps. These are seals so that you don't get water in these things when they're not being used. And so I shaved these down. They usually stick out to about right here to cover the ends of the caps. I shaved them down, put some O-rings on them, and they should work just fine. So now I've got a nice clean setup to plug into that should be shielded from the heat, and a nice look. So that was a Rugged Radios connector I'd bought a while back and decided to use it after all. I didn't know how I was going to use it, but the more I thought about this heat shield, and probably what I'm going to do, I've got a bid out right now. I've got some heat shield material with insulating properties or sound deadening properties that I'm trying to buy. I'm probably going to line the entire back of this unit with heat shield sound deadening. That's going to really help if you think about it. Right there next to your head, there's a lot of noise generated from that motor and that turbo back there. Some people might like the noise, but me, I like to hear myself think. I've got bad hearing as it is, and so I'm going to turn that into and probably coat that, and if it looks okay, I'll leave it. If it doesn't, then probably what I'll do is I'll spray some of the rubber coating on top of that to make it easier to maintain and keep it in place. And that should really quiet down that motor from the cab and let you hear your radio better or hear each other better in there, although I use the headsets a lot to talk back and forth to each other. But the point is, as you can see,
is to line this back mat with that material, seal it up, and then spray it off with rubber coating. It's going to get pretty quiet in this cockpit from the motor. So another great idea, I think, that I'll keep you posted on once I get the material in, and I'll see how easy it is done. So there's my update to clean up the whole wiring system right there, and make it easier to plug my headsets in. Thanks for watching. Again, if you like this, if it's handy, like, subscribe. I'll keep them coming, and give me some ideas of what you'd like to see on an X3 done on the cheap instead of spending a lot of money, and I'll see if I can't afford to do it here sometime soon. Thanks, folks. Have a great day.